Efilism claims to be against speciesism and to recognize the value of suffering of all sentient beings, including non-human animals. It says that humans have a duty to prevent suffering regardless of the species of those who experience it. For Efilism, it's good to kill the animals in the wild, because they claim that's a good way to prevent their reproduction. That assumption is false. It is based on a insufficient knowledge of ecology. By killing the animals, you will not reduce fertility rate nor the amount of suffering among wild animals. You need to understand how ecology works to know if and how that is possible. Life depends on resource availability. Killed animals will be replaced by others. That's because those who would have died earlier and would have made less offspring because of resource scarcity can now live longer and reproduce more, because by killing some animals you have freed resources. A certain number of animals will now come into existence because of what you've done and will replace the ones that you've killed. Their offspring will also take the place of those whose creation was apparently prevented. As long as there are available resources, there will be about the same number of sentient beings and the same fertility rate. It doesn't matter how many you kill, as long as you leave resources available. And you will, because it's very difficult to remove them. Even through a huge, devastating intervention in a wild environment, you are not really removing resources because they're still there. The environment quickly gets back to its sentient demographics. You may have slightly changed the biodiversity of an area, but not the quantity of sentient beings. Life starts re-emerging right after such kind of intervention, and in the meantime, you have not just killed, but you have also inflicted a big amount of suffering to a certain number of animals. Any intervention that removes resources only in a short, limited amount of space and time will not work. To remove resource, you need a system or a mechanism that constantly makes those resources unavailable. You need something like civilization, which, by the way, doesn't work in an ethical manner at all. A well thought out system of interventions based on science through a coordinated international effort on a global scale is probably what is at minimum required to reduce suffering in the wild and to reduce the number of sentient beings in the wild. But even like that, it is not guaranteed. Whatever you will do will not be simply added to the destruction of civilization. It doesn't work like that. Efilism is in favor of intervening to prevent suffering regardless of how and in which context it happens. And I agree with that, where there is a serious suffering, including among wild animals. I'm not sure I would call it a duty, but yes, I think it's important to try to prevent it, but not at all costs. Certainly not through the infliction of extreme suffering at the expense of innocent sentient beings. Nothing can justify that. In general, I'd say yes, I think it's extremely important to intervene wherever possible to reduce and prevent serious suffering, and I'd say to reduce serious injustice as well. But it's even more important to not cause harm without a justification.